Welcome to Act Out. I'm Eleanor Goldfield, and this is your tipping point. As I mentioned, it's hot and bright, hence the sunglasses, so bear with me. This week, I want to dive right onto the front lines and give you some updates and some upcomings. First off, August 9th marked the one-year anniversary of Mike Brown's death. As you may recall, Mike Brown was the unarmed black teenager shot dead by a police officer in Ferguson, Missouri. His death largely contributed to the rise of the Black Lives Matter movement. And unfortunately, on the anniversary 10 days ago, this country got yet another shocking reminder as to why we need this movement. A day of peaceful protesting ended in flares, smokes, shots fired, and another state of emergency declared. An 18-year-old black man, Tyrone Harris, was shot by police. He ultimately survived, and cops are saying that they had cause to shoot him because Tyrone was reportedly carrying a gun. I'll circle back to that logic in just a minute. The next day, protests continued in Ferguson as well as in St. Louis outside of the Department of Justice, where protesters, including well-known activists Janetta Elzy, DeRay McKesson, and Dr. Cornel West, were arrested for being there and being black. Actually, DeRay was apparently arrested for filming the police because, they're camera shy. Yet another arrestee was held on a $10,000 bail due to the fact that she kicked a police car, and that earned her a felony charge. Meanwhile, Oath Keepers were seen patrolling the streets of Ferguson with assault rifles, claiming that they were there to keep the peace. And while St. Louis County Police Chief John Belmar did call their presence there both unnecessary and inflammatory, no shit, the arrests of peaceful protesters continued, while these armed vigilantes, one of which claims that Obama is a mulatto, a Muslim, and not actually American, well, these guys continue to roam free. Occupy Wall Street's Twitter account put it most succinctly by pointing out, filming cops equals arrests. Openly carrying rifles while white? No problem. Now, back to that logic thing that I mentioned. The Ferguson police claimed that they shot Tyrone Harris because he had a gun. Okay. So does this guy, and this guy, and really all of the Oath Keepers. That's kind of their thing. Now, we can argue over whether or not it's a good idea to have open carry laws, as in not fucking at all. But if you're going to be arresting people for sitting on steps and shooting people for carrying a gun, how can you let fucking Rambo walk around on the streets without so much as telling them to leave? Just leave on the grounds that their presence there might incite violence simply by carrying an assault rifle around. And I'm not advocating that you shoot people. I'm so far left on this issue, most issues, but I'm so far left on the gun control issue that I think it's about 20 years late for us all to pull in Australia, where 20 years ago, the Australian government outlawed automatic and semi-automatic rifles and saw about 640,000 guns turned in through a government gun buyback program. No, I'm certainly not advocating that you shoot people, but here's the problem. When you answer rocks with gunshots, when you answer hands up with hands tied behind your back, when you answer white guy with gun with a friendly hello, and a black kid with a gun with a shot to the chest, you are throwing gasoline on the fire. You are proving a point and hammering it home, showing the racist realities of this system and continuing to make it worse, doing nothing to make it better. So here's a fucking suggestion, Ferguson. Take the cops with Desert Storm gear out of there. Tell the Oath Keepers to go keep their oaths in a place that actually needs it, like, I don't know, Congress. And most importantly, work with the fucking protesters. They aren't protesters because they're thugs or miscreants. They're protesters because this system is guilty as hell, and you are doing nothing about it. Sit down with them at the table, sans guns, get some real solutions working, and I guarantee you won't have cause to declare another state of emergency. Keep repeating the same tired old racist shit, and you won't get far. No justice, no peace. For continued updates on what's happening in Ferguson and indeed all over the country in terms of police brutality and Black Lives Matter, I recommend following both DeRay and Janetta, and that is 2 T's and 8 A's. Also check out thisisthemovement.org and mappingpoliceviolence.org.